Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. I'm Tyler from the Unemployed Architects. This week I'm going to be talking about my shows at BraiZe in Bloomington on Friday night, and Saturday night we played at PK's in Pontiac. So both shows were good and a much better light than the last podcast. I think that, last week was the fourth week in a row of having a minimum of 3 shows per week, plus, working and all that jazz on top of it, was weighing on me pretty heavy. So this week was definitely a little lighter, and then since we had a show cancellation this week, I'm feeling even less stressed. I kind of, it's weird. It's like I feel less stressed, but I also feel a little worthless at the same time for not having at least 2 shows. But it'll be good. It'll be much needed rest, so that'll be nice. They're both Thursday and Friday. I don't have work or shows. So, and there's a bunch of stuff I'm just way behind on, so it'll be good to catch up on that stuff. So anyway, Friday night we played at BraiZe. I've been doing this new setup. I don't know what inspired me, but I've just been kind of tired of bringing way too much stuff to a show, which is what I've been doing for way too long. And then B, I wanted to try doing, kind of utilizing the JBL in a different way. And really my plan was to do this only at PK's, but I thought on the Saturday night show, I thought it'd be a good idea to try it on Friday night just to kind of see how it worked at BraiZe. So it was nice. But what I've been doing is it's a 1 mic setup. So I set up 1 mic. It's a little bit further away than I would normally do because it's a condenser mic. It's a Rhodes condenser mic. It's mainly for recording, but I've read some stuff online that bluegrass bands use condensers for their 1 mic setups. So, and I end up, and I do plug my guitar in as well. So I plug the Rhodes mic into my vocal pedal, and then I plug my guitar into my pedal board and into the second channel of. So really for the Friday night show, it wasn't too crazy different. I just didn't use monitors, and it was, I let the mic be far enough away that it catches some of my guitar volume as well. So then my second channel for a guitar is just, to get the effects really, and I can get kind of closer if I need to be louder, and further away if I want to be, if I'm maybe singing louder but want it to be a little quieter. It's definitely more of a mic position kind of performance. Like, when you're being kind of soft and sweet, you have to be pretty close. And when you're being like shouty and stuff, you want to be kind of far back. But I feel like it's definitely a little more entertaining to watch, especially with the 2 people performing into 1 mic, because Saturday that's what we did. But so it was just me and Dave on Friday night. Lo wasn't feeling great, so we did it, and I tried it out, and it was outside. And I think the biggest thing that was the nicest was just the less stress of setting up a million things. I just get so burnt out on doing that over and over and over again. And the thing is, with this setup, I'm still using my vocal pedal, still using my pedal board, so it really sounds pretty similar. It's just not so loud that you need monitors, and it kind of just feels like you're playing acoustic, and that's what I'm used to doing anyway. So it was interesting. It was definitely a little bit of a learning curve, but it was fun. I felt like because I was less stressed out, I definitely had more fun. And there was a thing that happened at the beginning where usually it would have really thrown me off, but since I didn't have very much stuff to set up, I was like in a better state of mind about it, and I'm just trying not to, get worked up about things that don't matter at all. But anyway, there was a wedding party that came, and they had to rehearse their wedding right before we started, and this was like, we were starting at 6, they came out at like 5:30, so we had to move all our stuff and let them kind of do their thing. It only took like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but if I was having to do like a full setup like I normally am, that would have, been pretty stressful, I think. But since, I could plug a lot of the stuff in kind of off to the side, kind of scoot it over, and, I was still ready maybe 5 to 10 minutes before we were even supposed to start. So in that aspect, it's really nice. I think that you do lose a little sound quality, but I think because there's sometimes I use different settings, like a really long delay and long verb for like some falsetto parts, or like if I'm singing backup vocals, maybe. So it's more of a natural sound, and on the mic, I really just try to only have like a really nice like reverb. I don't really do a lot of delay. So I mean, in some songs, you kind of lose out a little bit from having that delay to carry the notes a little bit longer and stuff. But I don't know. I liked it. I don't know if I'm just a crazy person and have to do things different every time I perform. That's the more I do this podcast and talk about it, the more I like have this realization that like almost every show I do a different sound setup, and I guess that makes it interesting. But I don't know. Hopefully this one for small places will be kind of the route to go. I think I'm just trying to end up and find the perfect setup for all performances, but all performances are different. So, depending on the size of the place and the acoustics of the place, and if you're outside, if you're inside, what the instrumentation is. So, I mean, all these factors make me like I'm plotting in my head like what I'm doing in the next show, and it might be slightly similar to what I did last time, but from 10 times ago it's like totally different. But anyway, the show went good. It looked like could start pouring at any time because we were outside, and it never did, so that was nice. I felt like really good at the beginning. The middle I don't know, I kind of lost it a little bit, and then at the end it was good again. So I mean, having a good beginning and a good ending, I think, is all you can really ask for. But I feel like maybe the mic placement had something to do with that middle part, because I wasn't like feeling it as much, because the mic kind of started tipping forward, and it's a condenser, so it's like a studio mic, so it's in like not a standard mic holder or mic clip. It has like a suspension system to make it kind of be suspended in the air with like not rubber bands, but like rubber bands. But anyway, so it was just different, I don't know. I don't know why I've seen a couple bands do it like that. Like bluegrass bands that do it are really fun because, when it's time for a solo, it's like one person will kind of step forward, do their solo. It'll be louder because they're closer to the mic, and then step back when they're done. So, and like when one person's singing, it's like one person's up front close, and then maybe the backup vocalists are a little bit behind or off to the side, kind of like an "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" kind of thing. But anyway, it's just something different and easier to set up, and the show overall was good. I think most people were into it, and like at the very end, we were about ready to be done, and then a whole crowd of people came, and they requested some songs that we actually knew how to play, so that was fun, and then we ended up playing like an extra half hour, so had a good time with it. And we made good tips, and it was pretty consistently busy throughout the night, though it was kind of an in and out crowd. Like there'd be a big table eating and kind of listening, and then they would leave, and then another one would come. But it was just a good night. And then so Saturday, I decided to do the same thing. I got a new car on Saturday, not a brand new one, a new to me car. So I had to get to Pontiac kind of early and do a bunch of stuff beforehand. But I thought it would be cool to do the one mic setup for this, because it would take way less time to set up. And PK's is always a wild card, just because, sometimes they think we're too loud, even though I don't think we are necessarily. It's just a different, I don't know, it's small, and I do a different sound setup most of the time. So, but this time with the one mic, I think worked out really well. So the two that have worked the best have been the, just using the Yamahas and doing like semi-normal setup, and kind of putting the speakers above everybody's head, like kind of high up, fills the room but doesn't kill anybody, and then doing this one mic setup. And this was more of a fun one mic setup because it was me and Lo. So, we were kind of, trading back and forth and moving around. But it was definitely really, really quiet. And, that can run into as many problems as probably being too loud, just because, if people come in and start talking and, as they drink more, they get louder, and then you're kind of competing with them. But, so, for the whole first, hour and a half of the show, it was, great. I feel like everybody could, whisper to each other and be heard, and there were definitely some people that came just to see us, and, it was good. It was fun. I was having fun, kind of being able to be more mobile. And then a couple friends of some of the people that were already there that seemed really into the show up until that point. And they were sitting right up front, and they just, everybody had been drinking and stuff, and they just were talking so loud at a certain point that it was, hard for me to concentrate. And I could tell, a couple that had come to see us, and they were sitting in the back, were getting a little annoyed with them. And, we definitely were, because, it was so quiet that you just couldn't really hear as good. I feel like they were talking probably louder than we were playing, which, we were through a speaker. But, it's other than that, it sounded great all night, and it was fun. And we ended up playing a lot of covers, a lot of, kind of older songs, not as many originals that night. But it was good. It just kind of threw me at the end, and then I kept pushing the volume a little bit. But then with those condenser mics, you can get feedback so easy. But the thing is, using the JBL, you're far away from the speaker, that you can get a little extra sound out of them than you can if you're right next to it. But if you push it just a little too hard, it squeals. So, ran into a little bit of that at the end, and then ended up just singing closer to the mic and turning my guitar up, I think, was the ultimate fix. But it made it hard for us to kind of trade back and forth. But still, the people that were there, that I think they thought it was good, and we had fun. And that's pretty much it. Not a crazy weekend, just the new sound setup was interesting, and we, like I said, we got a lot of better feedback than the weekend before, and that kind of lifted us out of that hole a little bit that we were put in last weekend. So, and then this weekend, I only have one show. I'm probably going to do the same lazy setup. It's lazy in some ways, but I feel like it sounds good just because that's kind of how it actually sounds. You're not overdressing it up. It's just kind of the raw. And that's how I practice anyway most of the time. So that'll be kind of, and this week, my only show is Saturday night at Reality Bites. So it's only a 2-hour gig, so it's really just a pretty stressless week. So I'm going to really take advantage of that, get on top of some stuff I've been procrastinating on. So hopefully get that stuff done. So that'll be what I'm talking about next week. Thanks for listening. Anybody who takes the time, as I always say, I really appreciate it, and I will talk to you next time. Have a good one.